Hi, good to be with you today. Just one quick announcement on my mind before we get started is this Thursday, we'll have a discussion about the future of our youth ministries here at Iowa Falls First United Methodist. And we hope that you'll come and you'll share your insight. Eventually, we're hoping that you'll also share your time and your talent to make that a reality. For our meditation, we continue to be in our sermon series about the path of a disciple, what it means to be a disciple. We've been in the Gospel of Matthew now for some time, and we will be for this Sunday. This Sunday is a unique story to the Gospel of Matthew. It's a story of Peter trying to walk on the water. And you might remember the story. It comes right after the feeding of the 5,000. Jesus sends the disciples out on a boat. Jesus goes and prays up on the mountain. And while the disciples are out in the boat, the storms come up. It gets windy. They get scared. Jesus comes walking on the water to them. They do not recognize that it's Jesus, and they get more frightful. So Peter says, Jesus, if it really is you, command me to come. And Jesus says, come. And Peter, we don't know how many steps that he makes, but he makes a few steps out on the water until he looks at the wind. And then he begins to sink. And he yells out, Jesus, save me, and Jesus plucks him out. Right? So what do we make of this story? Why does Matthew put this story in? Well, for me, it's a story of the very early church, of this new beginning, right? Jesus sends the church. What is the boat but this collective identity of disciples, this collective identity as a church that is sent out in mission and sent out into the world no longer with the physical presence of Jesus. Right? So you follow me so far? Jesus sends the disciples out in a boat by themselves. Right? And so when the beginning church starts, they hit this storm. They hit this storm of persecution. They hit this storm of bias. They hit this storm of hatred from their surrounding community. And they get frightened. They don't know what to do. And in fact, the winds come up, but I think the winds are coming out of the boat, the winds of doubt and the winds of fear emanating from the church, emanating from the disciples in the boat. And while Jesus' physical presence is no longer with them, his spiritual presence is. Right? That's Jesus walking on the water. But they don't recognize that Jesus is with them. They don't understand the fact that Jesus is right there beside them, right? Because the power of Jesus of the resurrection is something that's beyond our sense, beyond our sensibilities, beyond our ability to really grab hold of. And so we struggle. But Peter, right? This one who is so full of doubt one minute and so full of assurance the next, right? He's willing to take a risk. He's willing to take a dare. And so he gets up out of the boat. And I think when we're up out of the boat, right, as we think about the current church, right, you could say that current church is in this storm of irrelevancy, this storm of declining attendance, this storm of disaffiliations. Right? And so we get fearful and we doubt our own existence and we huddle in the hole of the boat, or we just come to worship and we sit in the pews and we huddle. For me, this is a call for us to have a broader vision. Okay? What will we see if we stand up and get out of the boat? What would be our perspective of the winds of change if we faced right into them? Well, we might fail. Right? Failing, this fear of failing keeps us from doing a lot of things. But this is what the story tells us when we fail. Jesus is right there. Jesus plucks Peter up out of his struggles. Peter learns in that moment. We learn in our moments of failure. We learn that we're not all that we can be yet. We learn that there's power in that spiritual presence of Jesus. We learn what we lack and what we need. So what can we risk? How can we stand out of the boat? Right? Because Peter did not fail here, right? Peter got out of the boat. Peter walked on the water, right? Peter did not fail here. He went on to be the foundation on which the church is built. So I guess to end up this meditation that's beginning to wander around a little bit is, do you always recognize Jesus in your midst? And secondly, where do you find assurance in your doubts? When your doubts and your fears rise up, where is it that you look for assurance? Good hard questions today. We'll see you soon.